of our site. Like most of the peninsula, the orientation is wacky. Why they didn't lay the grid out north-south, we don't know. But a section of Palo Alto with roughly 7,200 square foot lots that yield buildable area of around 3,400, and that's what can be above ground. You can have an ADU, and you can have additional basement space. So, like most of the homes in the region, we're looking to be able to fully develop that building area. Next up. So a site plan of our building, Cerveza Drive is here. Again, our north arrow is up the upper left-hand corner of the site. We have photovoltaic panels that are facing west-southwest, which is really good for a grid intertie situation and contributing to the grid when the loads are greatest. Residents here, and then ADU in the south corner, east corner. Next. View of the project from the street. We're utilizing a Rammed panel system, and we come out and visit on April 20th to be able to see that in person. And that's sort of a wall that runs down the length of the central hallway of the house, starting at a point of the front yard, and carry that line through. A combination of a fiber cement panel, space system, and some salvage redwood. We'll get a look at some details of that. So, working in Palo Alto, we have a building envelope, and those of you who have done work here, you know that the building envelope is shaped simultaneously to preserve daylight for neighboring properties, and it ends up creating a shape that really wants to encourage traditional architecture. And sometimes it will not free kind of that. It's something a little more contemporary, which was the case here. So in order to stay within that daylight plane height limit, we found ourselves stepping back the exterior walls from the upper floor exterior walls from the lower floor exterior walls. That takes a little bit of structural gymnastics, and we talked a bit about that. So some of our, carbon impacts, frankly, came from the steel resources, and we had to use to be able to make that shape. Next up. So just a quick run through the floor plans. Single car garage with additional parking above it. We have an entry flanked by the rammed wall panels on one side, and the eucalyptus column that was being cut for fire resilience, defensible space down in Pescadero. And a central hallway that leads to kitchen, living, dining, opening up to the backyard. This is southeast in this direction, so having lots of glazing in that direction is really important for both solar gain and connecting to the yard. Here's a guest bedroom and or office space with its own bath at the main level, and then PD and music room on that. And then ADU, which is just a simple studio in the backyard, featuring a roll-up glazed garage door to connect to the patio. There are two very large heritage oak trees in this corner, which is why that's left undeveloped. But immediately, have providing some afternoon shade to the backyard space. Next. Take a quick view upstairs, so coming up a stairway to a hall, 3 more bedroom and or office spaces with a couple bathrooms, and then the basement. Next. That stair connects down to multi-purpose space, another bedroom and office, and laundry storage and the stuff. So a quick orientation to the house we're talking about. Now a big jump to what's happening on site. This project is under construction. Pico Pucone is a straw panel system that's being manufactured in Eastern Europe. So these actually made their way across the ocean in a slow boat, and then took a train from Houston to the Bay Area, and then a truck from Oakland to Palo Alto. And there they are. The first walls to be assembled were the EDU at the site. But now, I think all the panels are, at this point, they're all in. Yeah. Next. And just a couple of the details. Not unlike straw bale construction, we have sill plates with insulation between them that are keeping the straw up and away from the foundation. So moisture protection, so we don't have any moisture migrating into them. And then in the case of the eco panels, they come with framing members at the corners, so framing out windows and doors. It comes quite naturally. I could go into all the different ways we can do that with straw bale construction, but would encourage you to buy CASPA's straw bale construction P-tips. So building section cut in the other direction, just to show, actually let's go to the next slide, so we can start to get into the palette of materials. This is a better view of that hallway stairway with the render panels. The stair treads are being cut from an urban forestry outfitted East Bay Valley is the timber that's being used for those. And that's the whole palette of materials. We have a light oak acoustic slab. Here's a view of the rambler. That's oak flooring. Yes. Just a closer look at one of the spaces. We're using a plywood veneer, light oak veneer for all of the casework throughout the house. And then to the exterior palette. In the eucalyptus columns, salvaged redwood siding, spent its life as partitions in an ICBM 19 missile silo in Los Angeles. So, repurposing it into swords to plowshares. And then fiber cement panels, and that's very similar detailing using here. The other project. Next up. So we've done some preliminary carbon calculating, and I think it's always interesting to see the numbers and what are the comparisons of the impacts here. And given that we have a hull with a basement in a very seismically active Bay Area, in Palo Alto, where they don't de-water the ground, so you have to assume, like you're in a lake, that all the weight of the water pushing against the basement walls. As I mentioned, some structural steel helping stand some areas. So, those are the bigger impacts. We get into doors, windows, and remarkably less carbon impact in the walls, floors, and roof. This shows what those numbers would be if we used a traditional concrete mix as opposed to a low carbon mix. And get into some detail on those. And then the amount of carbon saved by using better concrete. But, this is a number that we want to see go up with more material choices and in more buildings and bring those other numbers down. So 106 is where we landed with the compares to the average as being measured by the Carbon Leadership Forum, the group that's promoting understanding and reductions in embodied carbon of the University of Washington. So 400 is the average across all building types that have been reported. Closer to 200 becomes the average when we're talking wood frame, whether it's single family, residential, or low-rise commercial. So we're running at about half of what the residential average would be. So I'm feeling pretty good about it. But, as I said at the outset, we need to get to zero. And so if we go to the next slide, the reason I'm able to be here today is because I'm not on my way to Ashland, where we were going to have a straw bale raising work party on a 4-unit townhome project, where we're using the bales, straw bales in this case, not only for the exterior walls, but also the party walls between those townhome units. And with that and some other reductions in not having a carbon-intensive foundation. And we actually worked with the local cement company to bring their mix down. We're able to get this project to 21. Oh, yeah. And with Verdant, you go to the next slide, with Poe. So I just wanted to, this is what happens when we build with straw bale. Traditionally, if we get a bunch of people together, then we have a really good time. And, the eco-cone is what's going to help us take it to scale. But for me personally, working with a number of volunteers, and when people don't normally engage in the building of the building, it's really fun.
Right, it seems
Some of those folks were local farmers that came out to help out. They had a lot of fun. They knew their way around the straw bale too. I think that was impressive. Okay, next. And with Verdant and Terra and some other partners and a branch from Stop Waste, we said, could we build buildings that actually store carbon? And through some very aggressive efforts, I won't go into detail on all of them, but we'll note that we did have up the analyzed straw bale system that we were proposing here. We're actually able to show that, yes, we can store carbon in buildings. And I think our ultimate hope is that the buildings, because if anything we're going to keep doing as human beings on this planet is building shelter for ourselves. And so if buildings the built environment can become the Earth's sixth carbon sink, we're going to go a long ways, of course, stopping runaway climate change. Next. So we're having an open house on April 20th. I'm sure Dave has mentioned this more than once. I mentioned it again. All right. Please report your projects, become signatories. Anthony.